Whew, this year at E3, boyos and girls, we got some interesting things. So I figured I'm going to make a little video over here to kind of go over this year's E3 and sort of cover about everything that I was really excited for and just a general show of E3. Now, I watched almost every single conference but the PC gaming conference, which is pretty ironic considering I'm a PC gamer at heart, but this year's Xbox Microsoft conference was pretty much also the PC conference as well. So let's dive into what we've got. Now, first things first, I was really excited for this year's Microsoft conference because being a big Halo fan, I wanted to see Halo Infinite showcased in this conference, which we did get to see. We also got to see some Gears 4, and we saw a lot of independent games. We saw a lot of games coming out from Microsoft's new studio acquisitions like Wasteland 3 and whatnot. A lot of these games, in fact all of them, are both on PC and Xbox. It's almost become now where Xbox as a brand is encapsulating PC and their console storefronts and console marketplaces as well. So first things first, let's go over the Microsoft conference. Let's get dressed as a big elephant in the room. Fucking Keanu Reeves shows the fuck up in one of my favorite games, my most anticipated games, Cyberpunk 2077. The only game of E3 and any game showed lately that I've actually had pre-ordered. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 was a game that I was waiting since the start of this channel for. So when I was making videos where I went, hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. Yeah, that one, those ones. With the Pokemon Lavender Town theme in the back, yeah, I would jerk off to Cyberpunk 2077's initial teaser right after those videos. And last year we saw some Cyberpunk 2077 finally, and we saw gameplay later on, like months later, and now we've got this intense, gripping trailer. Like, it definitely shows that they're making a story that's going to suck you in, like a story that pulls on every heartstring. And towards the tail end of it, fucking Keanu Reeves shows up, all right, ready to burn the city down with you. So I'm pretty excited for this year's Cyberpunk 2077, like next year actually, which I'm glad it actually got a release date, 2020 April. So I pre-ordered it. I know it's 10 months, 11 months off from now, but I can't wait to sink my teeth into that. On another note, Death Stranding also had its release date revealed for 2019 November, another game that I was super excited for. Glad to sink my teeth into that. I'm sure it's going to help tide me over till good old Cyberpunk. But anyways, there were other games that were shown. Halo Infinite was shown this year, but we're going to get more of a reveal next year. I was expecting gameplay at least. We didn't get it. I think we got some pre-rendered footage. I don't know. They said it was game footage, but I don't fall for the marketing hype these days. We saw some Halo Infinite. It looked all right. I would say that the story was definitely going in a place that interests me, but Halo stories as of the last two games have been a little iffy, so I have some reservations. But, you know, Master Chief Collection coming to PC. We got that Game Pass becoming one of the best subscription deals out there, and I feel that a lot of developers brought a subscription deal to the table today, but Microsoft's sort of premiere. With Game Pass, I ended up buying Ultimate that day, and you get Xbox Live Gold, you get the Xbox Game Pass, PC Game Pass, tons of games to play. So if you wanted to play Metro Exodus without paying Epic Games for it, Microsoft's got you covered as far as I know. But moving on, now that Microsoft's conference is sort of covered, it was what I expected. I got what I wanted out of it. Release dates for a game that I was waiting the most for. So in that way, it was probably one of the best E3s for me. But overall, there were a lot of indie games, and I think Microsoft will show more next year. They already talked about the new console this year, which looks pretty beastly. And if Microsoft hits all the notes, I could go into Xbox as the premier console next generation, like I went into PlayStation 4 this generation. Now moving on, the next conference was Bethesda, which in my opinion was like the shittiest conference, hands down at E3. Allow me to cover it real quick. So for Bethesda's conference, they focused a lot on mobile games. Like they focused on Elder Scrolls Blade coming to the Switch. Like fucking wow, that's impressive. That's what I wanted. They talked about their trading card game, the Elder Scrolls trading card game, I believe on iOS and Android. They talked about Elder Scrolls Online, which would probably be the only palatable thing on that front, because I guess that's substantial content, but you know, it's an MMO. It's going to get constantly updated. And for me, I don't play Elder Scrolls Online, so I don't really care too much. We know that Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 is going to get produced. You know, they are working on it, but they didn't show anything this year. And Fallout 76 definitely came back. And Fallout 76, apparently they showed NPCs and they acted like it's some big deal in this Wastelanders expansion. It's really not. They introduced a Battle Royale mode to Fallout 76. Like, I shit you not, they actually did. And was it that exciting? No, I guess I'll play a little bit more during the free weekend when there's more populations out there, but we'll have to see next week if people are even, if I can even get into a full Battle Royale round. But ladies and gentlemen, after the Bethesda conference, which just, again, it didn't leave me too excited, we got the Ubisoft conference the next day. And the Ubisoft conference, again, was relatively underwhelming. Allow me to cover stuff. So no Assassin's Creed, no Far Cry, but we got stuff on Ghost Recon. And Ghost Recon Breakpoint looks okay. I mean, it's pretty much Wildlands. It looks pretty, it looks nice, but the fact that it's online only is keeping me a little bit away. Hopefully if they change that, I might come back. They talked a lot about Division 2, which is great. I like Division 2, fun game. I was expecting Splinter Cell, and we didn't get any Splinter Cell. So unfortunately, Sam Fisher is relegated to like a mobile game that they're making. So we're not getting a Splinter Cell, I guess, anytime soon. Even though everyone was anticipating this, there was a lot of people in the chats, and I watched a bunch of streams constantly wanting some Splinter Cell. We didn't get our Splinter Cell. So unfortunately, Sam Fisher and co. are going to be held behind. It's just how it is. We got some update on the Rainbow Six Siege expansion, which wasn't really that great. I mean, well, it was great for me, but I don't know why it needed to necessarily be at E3. We knew Rainbow Six was going to come up with an expansion today anyways. But they did focus on the Outbreak game that they're coming out with in 2020, the Rainbow Six Outbreak, which basically I would believe is the zombies mode they had a year ago for Operation Chimera and Rainbow Six Siege as its own separate game. So I'm excited to get my hands on that. Me, Maru, and Kyle, we're going to rock that shit till the end of days. But moving on forward, we got no follow-up on Assassin's Creed, besides some Symphony. I wanted to see some of that Skull and Bones game, the pirate game they showed last year. Didn't get a follow-up. Watch Dogs Legion, though, excites me too. I'm a huge sucker for Watch Dogs, so when I saw Watch Dogs Legion, which basically has you recruiting a bunch of players, sort of like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker style, and you can use these to basically raise anarchy in a police state in London. It looked pretty nice. They showed John Wick Grandma in it, which I guess was funny. The game looks all right. The game looks very fluid, but again, it is Ubisoft, and Ubisoft kind of has that good old good old presentation skill. So we'll see if that's going to stand up as much as we expect. There were talks of downgrades. You know, everyone makes a downgrade joke, but I don't think Ubisoft really showed much that could be downgraded. And this is coming from a PC gamer, to be honest. I wasn't super blown away. I think what they showed was pretty respectful to what we're going to get as the final product. Roller Champions looks nice. They have an E3 demo that you can try out on Uplay. I believe it's going to be free to play. It's like their answer to Rocket League, which is, it's cool, it's fine. I'm probably really going to play it for like a weekend and then switch back to like something else that I primarily play. Now, after that was a Square Enix conference, which is like my second game that I was super excited for. Now, Final Fantasy VII is a game that I say that I'm not excited for, but it's always in the back of my mind. And at the end of the day, I'm not a huge FF7 fan. Like, I don't care too much for Final Fantasy VII, but it is a great game. It's a fine game, and I would love to always load it up and play through the story whenever I can. But there's just something about it that doesn't grip me as much as, say, people who really love Final Fantasy VII. But they showed this remake that was announced fucking forever ago, and it looks great. It really does. Like, visually, this game looks amazing. The combat system in it, though, is a little iffy in my opinion. I saw a lot of people mashing the square key. Well, not a lot of people, the presenter smashing that square key. So basically what they do is you have a generic attack, a basic attack, and then you have an ATB gauge that fills up as you do attacks and I guess over time. And you can use these to cast your limit breaks, use items, and cast magic and whatnot. And combining it, it looks definitely pretty fluid. It looks cool. It looks unique, but I'm just wondering how much, I don't know, the presenter didn't do that great of a job showing it. Now, the game looks fine, but there's this weird thing that I'm hearing where Final Fantasy VII is a remake, which will launch March 2020, I believe, will be just the first half of Final Fantasy VII. So apparently people are saying like it's the Midgar section or the first half. Now, I don't know how much they've added or changed or actually expanded on, which is what I'm hoping happens in Final Fantasy VII. I think the whole Midgar section needs a big expansion, even maybe a little bit of a prequel tale for the whole event. But Final Fantasy VII does not look like it's going to be a complete Final Fantasy VII story experience when it launches. So I might not buy it day one. I might just wait for like an all-in-one Royal Edition or something like that. Because you know they're going to do it. You know once they release the second half of the game, if they're even doing that, they're going to release the full physical version of that game, and I'm going to buy that for sure. It's going to be a game that is worth playing, but I just can't do episodic games anymore, man. I feel like I'm going to play the game, and then I'm just going to be blue-balled until the next piece of story comes out. And knowing Square Enix development times on a lot of these projects, I want the whole experience to come out instead of waiting like 10 years for the second half or something, right? God forbid. But I'm glad that it's finally coming out. It has a release date. Do I perceive it getting delayed? Possibly. You know, Square Enix is very, very viable of doing their delays. And you also got to remember with certain other Final Fantasy games like 15, lots of stuff does get changed. So what we saw isn't exactly representative of the final product, but I'm sure it's going to look great. It will look great. It looks amazing right now. Even this first half apparently is like 2 discs worth of Blu-ray content. So really, really, they're giving a lot of stuff with this game. It looks amazing. I'm sure it'll play amazing, but if it's episodic, I'm going to get it when it fully releases. Avengers looks all right. You know, we're gonna wait more on that. But essentially, at the Square Enix conference, it basically boiled down to Final Fantasy. Come on now. But it was cool. It was great. I was glad to see that there was some representation. Final Fantasy VII was here. That's kind of what we waited for. And in respects of gameplay shown, Square Enix probably had the best conference, hands down. Like they showed this game like a true trooper. And you know what? Congratulations, kudos to you, Square. I can't wait for FF7. Hopefully it's not episodic, but if it is, shit, we'll have to see how great it is. Now, Nintendo's conference was pretty much your standard fare. You've got your Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, kind of odd. I never really saw a direct sequel to a Zelda game. We did, but they weren't called 2, and they didn't have the number 2 at the end. Luigi's Mansion 3 looks alright, Fire Emblem looks alright. Metroid is what I was waiting for, and we didn't get Metroid. But hey, I guess I'll fucking wait. Us Metroid fans, us Metroid Prime fans, we've been blue-balled plenty of times, so fuck, maybe next year, maybe at a Nintendo Direct, maybe I'll sit in the treehouse again and maybe we'll get something. Metroid right now is in a state of maybes, and it's kind of pissed me off, but at the same time, like, just twist the knife in deeper. I don't really care at this point. What does make Nintendo's E3 for me is the Pokemon game that's coming out. I think I might actually get back into Pokemon. I've had year-long droughts without it. I just have not been interested in it. Maybe I might get into it now. Maybe. We'll see. But the Super Mario Maker 2 definitely excites me. I'm glad that they finally took the concept of Super Mario Maker, brought it to the Switch. I can't wait to get my hands on it this month. Like, it's going to be what I want. They had a bunch of other games shown. Witcher 3 is probably the most impressive one. Now, they showed superimposed gameplay, so it's not going to look that good on the Switch, but they've got Witcher 3, which is one of the most demanding games this generation, running on a tablet, to be honest. So if you can pull that off with the Complete Edition, I am so down to see it. And I might even, triple dip into that game, buy it, and play it on the Switch as well, because it is a genuinely great game. And I'm glad the Switch is finally getting more of these intensive games. Like, if you can get Witcher 3 running on the Switch, looking relatively all right, then I'm down. I am all on board of that. And if you can get games like Alien Isolation, which they announced, running on the Switch, again, I am 100% down for all of that. So real kudos to our lads out at CD Projekt Red for doing it. And by the way, if Witcher 3 can come out for Switch, I'm sure that some of these Assassin's Creed Origin games can come out for the Switch too, if Ubisoft puts in the effort, because honestly, those big expansive RPGs would be amazing to play on the Switch. I would deal with a lower resolution to play it, of course within reason. I don't want to play it like 240p for crying out loud. But yeah, no, this E3 so far was pretty decent. I wish we definitely got to see more at certain events, but for what I got, which honestly all I wanted was the release dates for Final Fantasy VII and Cyberpunk 2077 and Halo Infinite. And you know what? Including Death Stranding as well, I got all my release dates. I got confirmations when my games are coming out. So that's kind of all I need. Now I got to play the patient game. Now I got to play the long game. And until those games hit, ladies and gentlemen, I'll definitely be streaming each and every one of those. and doing videos on them when they come out, because these are the games that I'm excited for. I think the end of this generation is going to go out with a fucking bang, and I can't wait for the next generation to hit. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking around with me for an entire console gen even. And let's go see what the next games are going to look like. And let me know in the comments below how excited you are for Cyberpunk 2077. Like, I need to have a beat off group on Discord just for that game. But ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.